Hello, guys, Andy here. First of all, we wanted to say sorry because there's been a big break between the last episode and this one, but hopefully, we'll be back on our regular uploading schedule from this point on. Second of all, we wanted to warn you about the audio on the first half of this episode. Sadly, it didn't record well and we couldn't reschedule with our guest, so it's going to be a little echoey there. Fortunately, the second part recorded correctly. Without further ado, we hope you enjoy this episode. Have you ever wondered what happens after ever after? Have you always yearned to know if the end is really the end? No? Well, you're gonna find out anyway. We're your hosts, Andy, Tammy, and Gina. This is Two Division.
Hello everyone, welcome once again to Two Division Disney Sequels Explained. I'm your host Gina, and as always, I'm joined by my two very best friends, Tammy and Andy. How are you guys?
Hi. I'm good. I'm tired, but that's my thing. Just roll with it.
Tammy's brand.
Yes, Tammy's friend is being tired.
Exactly.
How about you, Andy?
I'm actually not tired for once because I've been relaxing and stuff. So I'm good. Yeah, this was a tiring one, guys. I'm not gonna lie. This was tough.
Yeah. Well, I am tired as well. I didn't sleep a lot last night, so I'm kind of sleepy, but not as Tammy was last week. Anyway, before we head into the main course, which believe me, it is a treat, we have a very special guest in this episode, and we're very excited. We are really glad to introduce you to our friend Julia. Hi, Julia. How are you? Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. I'm also a little tired, but everybody is, so hi.
Yeah. You go ahead. You introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, I'm Julia. On YouTube, I'm Navari Love 19, and I'm a non-Disney editor, crossover editor, like these guys, and I don't know what else do I say.
Your favorite Disney movie?
Yes. Okay, my favorite Disney movie is Beauty and the Beast, followed closely by The Hunchback of Notre Dame. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah, we know. Awesome. I love you. Should also subscribe to Julia because she participated in this Disney role playing contest called Miss Disney. Is that the name of it? Right?
Yeah. Yes.
And she just won the 2019 one, so she's a really great editor. And yeah, so you should all go subscribe to her. She's really amazing.
Thank you so much. I didn't know if I should say that. I really appreciate it.
No, it's fine. And we're really happy to have you. So thank you for being here and giving us your time.
Gosh, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here too.
Yes, me too. I'm really excited about this one because oh boy, it is
Something.
it's something. Okay, so let's start because I really do have a lot to say about the original one. Of course, today we're talking about the Hunchback of Notre Dame. The first one came out in 1996, and it was mild success. I think it is considered one of the darkest Disney movies ever made. And so, as always, we're gonna start by sharing our memories and our thoughts on the original one. So, Tammy, how about you go first this time?
Okay, so with the original film, I did not like it as a child. In fact, I thought the VHS that I owned was cursed, and I never wanted to touch it.
Oh my god!
I did not like it.
Oh my god!
That movie scared the shit out of me. Scared the hell out of me. It was super dark, like you said, and I can appreciate it now as an adult. Like, it's beautifully made. The music's amazing. The score's amazing. The animation is gorgeous. And it's just a really, really good movie. But as a kid, it scared the bejesus out of me. Especially the scene with Quasimodo and the tomatoes, like being called into tomatoes, and that thing when he was being humiliated. It's just I think I was just a very empathetic child, and also as an adult, I think. And I think when I saw him getting tortured like that, it just hurt my soul as a 5-year-old. And I was like, why? So yeah, I did not like it as a child. And this probably affects my viewing of Hunchback too, because I don't have so much of a nostalgic appeal towards Hunchback. So I kind of like Hunchback too. Not gonna lie.
Oh, okay, sure. So, I mean, I don't have the same kind of nostalgic attachment to Hunchback as I do like Beauty and the Beast, because I didn't actually have a VHS of it as a kid, so I only saw it a bit later anyway, like when I was around 10 or 12, and that was like the perfect time to see it, because that's like right when you're kind of growing up, you're transitioning, and you're okay to deal with a bit of more scary stuff. Like, it wasn't the easiest movie to watch as a kid for me either. Like, it was Frollo. He's the one who scared the hell out of me. Like, he's not necessarily a kid friendly villain, but I think that's kind of the brilliance of this film. And it was a big hit, right? Which is why I love it so much now. I started it when I was like 10 or so. I was like kind of ready to watch it, and then as I kind of grew up and I was still watching Disney movies, this one really stood out as being such a masterpiece, and such a risk for Disney, because it was not a fairy tale. It's based on a book. It was like the scope of this movie was so huge. You could just like it was like the stakes were so big, so raised. So I loved it for that. I love the music. I love all of the different themes. I guess, like I'm trying to say, I gained much more of an appreciation as an adult, kind of knowing about film and knowing about literature. As a kid, it maybe wasn't the best movie. It's not the best movie to show kids. I can talk about this movie a lot. I love it. So I'm going to let someone else talk.
Okay, so Andy, do you want to go next?
Just like Tammy, I didn't watch this movie as a kid because, I kind of got scared of it, but I just thought, oh, this is not a kid's movie, I should not watch it, so I didn't. And I remember I avoided it like the plague for some reason. I remember I was with my cousins, and they had bed sheets, and they were Hunchback of Notre Dame sheets. I didn't know there was a thing such as that. But there was, and I demanded for them to be changed because I couldn't sleep on them. It's weird, right? I was a weird kid. I think I watched it after, and then when I watched more Disney movies and I saw the reactions of people, I just found this movie to be a masterpiece, and I love it, and I loved it since. When I was watching all the Disney movies again, this was one of my favorites, and still is. I think it's the most artistic. I don't know, like the landscaping and the art design and all the concept art and all the stuff, like the surroundings and the scenery is just the most beautiful for me in any Disney movie. I just love seeing that, like the Notre Dame and all of Paris and all that stuff. The colors are amazing. I not much of an attachment as a kid, and I love it a lot as an adult. Maybe that was why it wasn't like big with kids, but it didn't have to be. Animation is animation, and okay, Disney is indeed like a family company, and it's a family studio of Walt Disney Animation Studios. But that means family, not only kids. So animation is a medium, and you can do a lot of things with it. And they Disneyfied the story of the Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo, and that it's like I can only imagine people in the 90s were like, why is Disney doing this? But I don't have any complaint for it. I mean, and like I said, animation is a medium. It doesn't mean like it can tackle like some heavy stuff like we just seen here. And okay, maybe I didn't watch it as a really, really little kid, but I did watch it when I was around 10 or something. And I don't think I would have read The Hunchback of Notre Dame at that age, but I did watch this movie and I understood. And I don't know, it kind of allowed me to enter these themes, and like life is complicated, and like more complicated stuff that a normal Disney, I don't want to say normal Disney movie, but like a traditional Disney movie would say. And I think my complaint with it is that, or I don't know if it would just it was, I don't know. My complaint with it is maybe it could be even bolder, or it could have even more adult stuff. But I don't know if that would have really made it bomb. So I
that really would have alienated the kids. Like if it was any darker, I probably would have been like, But
yeah, but I don't have a complaint. I wouldn't mind that, Like, okay, this is not for kids, but yeah, they tried to do that with the Black Cauldron, and look what they got. So,
well, I do think like they are meant to be watched by children. It's not just not meant to be watched just by children. Be watched by everyone, as you said.
Yeah.
But it is supposed to be made so children can watch it and still enjoy it, and maybe they won't get the same experience as an adult, but they will still watch it and like it and enjoy it. And that I don't know. I mean, my experiences as a child watching it and my experiences as an adult are completely different, and I appreciate them both. I appreciate it at both times, but for different things.
I wanted to jump in on that. I was thinking about your favorite movie is The Lion King, right? Which is also that scared me too as a kid, right? With not Simba, sorry, Mufasa's death. Very traumatizing, but I also loved it as a kid, and growing up in Africa, I went back to that one again and again, probably the most, because it felt like appropriate for where I was living, right? And I think that movie, like The Lion King, did kind of prepare me for death. I think that, like, when you're a kid, you don't understand death. You don't realize it's permanent. So seeing this main character so beaten up, and you see this amazing father is not coming back. It was quite a moment of like, oh shoot, this is serious, right? Even though I still didn't really understand it, like these movies can teach you that kind of thing, right? So I think Andy, you were saying like it can teach kids about darker themes. Like I think that is important. It is important that it doesn't hold your hand. But I think like my issue with the movie. And again, it's small because I think the movie's practically perfect, but I think it kind of has a tone problem. Like I think it uses.
Yeah. That was kind of my complaint. Yeah, sorry, but you put it better.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, exactly. So I'm with you there. It needed to decide if it was fully gonna embrace the sort of dark, or if it was gonna be light and fun. And I feel like again, the biggest thing is those freaking
gargoyles. Yeah. Thank you. I was going to say that. I was hoping someone would.
They're my least favorite part of the film. And like when you see these amazing sequences like God Help the Outcasts or Hellfire, and it's just actual pure brilliance on stage, and then on screen, sorry. And then it's followed up with like goofy gargoyles, like it's okay, but you get there. It's like what? Why? Like no, there were other ways to work in comic relief, and it didn't have to be so different than what the rest of the film was, Like,
yeah.
I think that's kind of the problem, more so than it being dark. I feel like they tried to do the comedy and the kid-friendly stuff in the wrong ways.
Yeah.
And I feel like that almost makes it more, like, that almost makes the adult stuff stick out more and be more apparent and more scary when it's like...
Good point.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, that is such a complaint of mine because... It pains me so much that it was almost perfect, Like, I can just... I want to make a cut without the gargoyles, and that's it. And maybe I could have lived with it. It was just, like, Quasimodo's imagination, but I think in some scenes they do have interaction, and they are proven to be real, and it's like, why? Like...
So frustrating. Like, I'm just gonna cut in briefly and say I fully support the headcanon that it's all in his head.
Right?
Like, I don't care. Those stones didn't fall on the soldiers. I refuse.
Yeah. That is exactly the shot I was I was talking about. Yeah, that doesn't exist for me. Very good.
For me, I feel like the gargoyles, I don't think they're that bad. I mean, I think more than the tone of them, I think the issue is the timing, because you always need comic relief, and they were good. I think the first scene when they first appeared, I think that scene is very good at comic relief, and because I do like the gargoyles. I like Victor because he's so hoity-toity and he's like quoting Shakespeare all the time. And the juxtaposition to that is Hugo, who's like very goofy and like your normal Irish comic relief kind of thing, and Laverne, who's kind of like in the middle. And so I do think they work. The only time I have issue with them is the song, A Guy Like This song. When that song came up, like even as a kid, I found the song kind of boring. But now that I watched it like earlier today, I was like, could cut this whole sequence all together, and the movie wouldn't be any worse or any better. I think this sequence can just go, but at the same time, like, I understand why they did it, because the rest of the soundtrack is pretty like gruesome. So if you were to put the soundtrack to a child, in your car or something, there isn't that one hopeful and upbeat song. So I get it. I get why they kept it in, but I do think it damages the movie in the fact that it just kind of cuts the tension, and it randomly gives you this cutesy musical number, which I actually do like that they reference Amadeus, because Amadeus is one of my favorite movies, and
because
one great of that sequence, but the rest of it I can just do without, and it just I don't know, it really really annoys me as well. And the thing about the gargoyles being inside Quasimodo's head, I do think that they should have kept it like that, and I don't like that they actually interact with other people and stuff, because just the fact that they were his imaginary friends, I found that so more interesting.
yeah.
It weakens him as a character. Like, I think it's a better character point if he has his head, and that's it. And then the movie like plays with your mind, because again, at the end of the aforementioned "Guy Like You" song, there's a shot of him surrounded by inanimate objects, and it's like, whoa, was he just saying that to himself? And like, it's a cool moment of like, oh shoot, and then they just, nah, screw that, we're gonna say it, like, why? And I just really quickly wanted to address your point about timing, like you said, like the timing of these gargoyles, that's like the problem, because again, Hellfire I think is one of the best sequences in the movie, for so many reasons, because you get to see again just how kind of sick and twisted Frollo really is, and it's so dramatic and it's so well animated. And then the very next scene, like, there's not even a transition really, except one little line from Hugo, and then suddenly we're in Gargoyle Loveland.
Yeah.
It's problem all over again. Like, you went from this beautiful, dramatic, dynamic villain song, one of the best villain songs ever, to like happy la la la. Like, what? Like, it might all be in his head, but it's not. Like, that's the disappointment. Like you said, I think if they cut that out, it would have been better. Like, there were better ways to work these characters into the plot.
and it's a rare seeing Disney making that mistake,
Yeah.
But I think we've covered a lot of this topic.
Sorry.
No, it's good.
I can talk about this movie forever.
Me too. I just want to add one thing, that I do think that Tom Hulce's performance of Quasimodo is probably the best performance.
I totally agree. So
in Disney.
You can hear the beauty in his voice and the vulnerability. It's like just incredible.
This movie makes me cry in all senses. Well,
yeah. I do, like, I watched it for the first time in English, like, today. I had never heard his performance in English, and I just found it so heartbreaking. I don't know, like, as I said, I love Amadeus, so whenever I heard him speak, I kind of saw him as Amadeus, but at the same time, like, he just nailed the performance so much that I can feel Quasimodo in him, and I can feel that he had a blast with the part. Like, he really went for it. He didn't take it for granted. Like, this is an animated movie, but I don't care. I'm still gonna give my all to it. The Out There song is beautiful because his voice just it really elevates the song, because the song is already good musically and with the lyrics, but his voice and his performance really lifts it up, and it's a beautiful song. And I read on the IMDb trivia that the speech that he gives at the end, when he's like, oh, but what am I gonna do? I'm gonna rush in and save her and blah 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 blah. That whole speech was done in one take. And
wow!
I was blown away. Yeah.
The whole cast is so talented, but you're right. Like, he really brings like something almost personal to that role. Like, he's really good Quasimodo.
Yeah, I think he has a fragility to his voice. I don't know what it is. I think he has the perfect voice for him, and I do think he's my favorite character performance in a Disney movie.
So we can move on to the topic of the episode.
We can talk about what we are here to talk about.
I think we can talk about the Hunchback for hours, but we need to move on to the other thing.
Yeah, sadly, this is a Disney sequel podcast, not a Disney podcast. So, we kind of did that to ourselves there. So moving on to the main topic, today we're going to talk about Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, of course. This direct-to home video sequel came out in 2002, and of course it came out to like horrendous reviews, and it has gained some how do you say, internet legacy. I don't know how to call that, but it really is regarded as one of the worst Disney sequels ever made, and that is saying a lot because there are so many that are kind of not good. But this one is definitely one that you can find in any worst Disney sequels list ever out there. And yeah, we're gonna talk about that, and we're gonna try to explain why it is regarded in that way. So, Tammy, do you want to start with your memory of this one?
With my memories of this one, I watched this as a kid a lot, and I actually enjoyed it, and I actually did not hate it this time around. I actually quite enjoyed it, not gonna lie. I don't know, like, I go about these sequels, like, pretty much with the same level of, like, oh, it's gonna suck. So I have a pretty low standard. So it didn't, like, I don't know, it didn't offend me in any way, like in the current watching, and we'll talk about that later as to why I did enjoy it. But yeah, as a kid, I really loved the music. Like, I really loved the songs. The falling in love song, I really liked that. I played that over and over as a kid, and I really loved the little chorus where they go like, "Oh, look at Quasi Bear." I played that part over and over again as a child. But yeah, I'm a kid that grew up with Disney sequels, and Hunchback 2 was one that I watched a lot.
All right, but not the original.
Not the original.
This one didn't have a humiliating tomato scene.
It did not.
No.
Okay, awesome. Julia, you wanna go next?
Oh, okay. So, like, me and Tammy have been talking about, like, me potentially coming on your guys' podcast for a while. And she was like, okay, would you like to come on something and talk about something that you love or something that you didn't like? And I was like, I bet I'll have more to say about the one I didn't like. So that's why I'm here. I really don't
wise choice.
Yeah. And even as a kid, I didn't like it, to be honest. Like, and the thing is, okay, I'm with you guys. Like, I grew up on the sequels, too. There are many sequels I actually really like. And I can say that, and I don't feel ashamed about that. But this one, even as a kid, I remember thinking, like, why? Like,
Yep.
this one exists. It didn't need to. Like, Little Mermaid 2 exists because we didn't get to see Ariel as a human. So it was cool to see her as a human and how she grew up, right? And, like, like some of the others, like even like Fox and the Hound 2, okay, it exists because it's character development for Todd and Copper, all right, that's why. But there's no reason that this to continue. And even as a kid, I remember thinking, like, why?
Yeah.
Just why?
Yeah, just why?
Have you seen that Vine of
Why?
Again, like, as a kid, I was not a picky kid. I watched anything. I liked, like, the freaking Tom and Jerry movie, and that's
oh my god.
But this one, I noticed the animation drop, right? Because I only saw Hunchback when I was like 10 or 12, and then I saw this one later than that. So I noticed. I was like, why does it look so bad? I'm sorry, but I really didn't like the music. It's just because, again, compared to the original,
it's terrible.
Yeah, and like the songs that I did remember, I remembered because they were annoying. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try and move on because we'll get into more of the meat and potatoes later. But the point is, I didn't understand why we were back with these characters. Their story ended perfectly. We didn't need to come back here, and the whole kind of part of Quasimodo's whole character arc in the first one was that he didn't actually need a girl to be happy, being accepted by the town was enough. So it just felt like kind of a weird retcon. Plus, I will add, again, as a kid, my absolute favorite movie was Beauty and the Beast. It's still one of, and this is the exact same story. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? We have a better one. So, tangent over. I'm sure there will be more. I want to hear what you guys
Awesome. I love of your comments, and I agree with so many of that. But for now, let's move on to Andy.
Okay. Well, it's weird. I don't remember my memories with this one because I do remember that Madeline was in my childhood in some time. And when I watched it again, like when I was watching Disney movies, I just wanted to watch them all. I watched it and I kind of remember the plot, so I did watch it as a kid. Yeah, I just hate this movie a lot. Like I don't like to hate things. Do you think I like to hate things? I don't, but sometimes they do Hunchback too, and you have to hate it because it doesn't give you any other choice. I really do not. It doesn't feel like a natural progression for the characters at all. I was watching it and I was just thinking, why is Esmeralda still in that costume? Why are they still in Paris? What is Phoebus's like mission? What this doesn't feel like something. They all dress the same, they all act the same, and I mean years have passed and it doesn't feel natural. Also, the characters don't feel like themselves. The animation drop is it's too much, guys. Like it's too much. I didn't believe something could compete with Ball's Magical World, but apparently this can. Like it doesn't have that many goofs like that one, so that one was kind of funny for the meme, but this wasn't. And the gargoyles have a never. The gargoyles are really, really, really real in this one, so I didn't like it. None of the characters are likable. Like Quasimodo, it's likable because he is Quasimodo, but he doesn't feel like himself either. The songs are awful. I'm sorry, I don't like them. I don't like any of them. I mean, there's like a line of them like, "Why would it feel like to love someone who loves you?" And that is the literal line. And I was like, wow, you couldn't come up with something like exposition-y. I'm getting flustered with this. I don't like any aspect of this movie. Maybe Madeline has a cute design, but she doesn't have a lot. Also, there are a lot of inconsistencies, and like they jump from one scene to another, and there's one scene where something happens, but like the heroes are trying to accomplish something, they accomplish it, but right after, like the next shot is like they could have done it so much easier.
I know.
I don't know. We will talk about the details later. So Gina,
you can breathe.
Yep. I'm done.
Okay. For me, like it's weird because I do remember watching this a lot as a kid as well. I think maybe this is one of those that I didn't actually see the sequel more than the original.
Yeah, me neither.
Because I too, of course, I am a sequel kind of girl that grew up with watching the sequels even, more times than the original. But this one, I do remember watching a lot, but not as much. And I do remember liking Adeline. I do remember liking some of the songs. Like, I remember enjoying the movie. And, like, of course, when I grew up and looking back on it, I was like, yeah, probably that was a terrible movie. But I was kind of excited to revisit it. I was kind of excited to watch it again and relive those feelings from my childhood. And I was kind of left disappointed because I was waiting for it to kind of surprise me, and it didn't. Like, it was more than I ever thought. Like, watching it with an adult eye, it's just like, what is this garbage? And like the one redeeming quality that I see in it is Madeline. And like I tried after watching the movie, after it ended, I tried to come up with a list of positive things that I liked, because I throughout the movie I was like, oh, I like this thing and I like that thing. But once I had the list, I realized that most of those things are Madeline things, like things that Madeline does, or things that Madeline says, or something about Madeline. So I was like, okay, maybe Madeline is the one saving grace of the movie, because as Sandy said, the rest of it is just, he's so weird. Like, the thing with the clothes is the first thing that jumped up at me. That was like, why is Esmeralda wearing the same clothes that she was wearing at least 6-7 years ago? Because she has a kid now, And Zephyr is like 6, and Esmeralda and Phoebus are still wearing the same clothes. And
they look the same.
I doesn't feel like any time has passed. I just feel like Zephyr just kind of randomly appeared out of nowhere. And they were like, I guess this is my kid now. And it does feel weird. And the animation, of course, is like so hard to look at. I was cringing the whole time, especially because I watched them back to back. And seeing Quasimodo, I was like, I had this kind of weird uncanny valley because you look like Quasimodo, but you don't look like Quasimodo.
Yeah.
Very weird. And it's just, and my God, I think the animators tried. I do think that they gave their best. They tried so hard to make it kind of nice to look at. Some shots I think are really good, and we're gonna get on the details later. But I do think that it's not terrible. Like the cinematography, maybe it's not as terrible. It doesn't look pretty. The animation sucks and doesn't help it. But at least there was some attempt to have some kind of visual, storytelling. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
But I saw that too. It's just, again, when you look at the original and how much, it was just like a league of, it's a different league, you know?
Yeah.
Like the poor, and it even says here on their wiki page, it was animated by Walt Disney Television Studios and Walt Disney Animation Japan. So it's like the lowest budget they could even throw at it. They gave it to the TV studio, who's not used to working on motion pictures. It's like, exactly. Like, you get it, but it's so sad knowing that, like, if they had even put a little bit more effort, maybe it could have been better. Like, there are sequels that surprise you, and like there are sequels that don't look bad, but this one.
Yeah, I just, when I was watching it earlier, I just kind of burst out laughing because that one, the first shot of Notre Dame, it looks so next to the original one, like, because it kind of looks like, I don't know, it feels less detailed, it feels little like even, I don't know.
It's a cartoon.
It looks more cartoony instead of the original that was so breathtaking to look at. Like, it really does look like the real Notre Dame. And this one looks like a drawing that a child might make of Notre Dame after watching the original movie. And it looks silly. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's an awkward movie. I think that's the word I would use for it because I felt awkward the whole time watching it. I was like, something's not right.
I felt uncomfortable. Like, I really did feel uncomfortable. I feel like when people say Disney direct-to-video sequels are shit, this is what they mean. Like, this is the one they refer to.
Yeah, and the songs are really not that great either. I was kind of expecting to be like, oh yeah, I remember this song. But I actually didn't remember any of the songs. I remember when I was a kid, I actually liked the Fall in Love song. But now I watched it, I was like, this song sucks. And like, it sucks because even after it ended, I didn't have any song like stuck in my mind. I remember after I watched The Little Mermaid, I was like, and after I watched Lady and the Tramp 2, I was singing the Young York Society song, and I was singing the Fence song. There were some attempts at making some good songs in those movies, but this one, I think it was just the most. I think they wrote all the songs in one day. They recorded them in one day, and that's it.
They sound the same. They're not well performed. And it's like it doesn't even feel like the same actors, even though it is. Like it's because they've got nothing to work with,
Yeah.
Okay, so we can start with like a more detailed discussion because my memories are basically over. So I just want to jump in right in and say like, oh my God, poor Tom Halsey. I praised him for the original one, and he does his best in this one. But I just feel so like a second-hand embarrassment because the script is so bad, and the things that he had to say, the things that he had to sing, and he had to act. He had to act like he actually felt those. And I felt so bad for Tom Halsey. He's a talented actor. He's not supposed to be here. Why is he here?
You're right. That's how I felt for the whole cast. They don't even they're trying, but it just doesn't sound sincere because it's such a poor script.
Right? Like there was one time like at the beginning when Esmeralda and Phoebus and Zephyr like just arrived to the bell tower, and Esmeralda's just like, wow, she's beautiful, and they just it never I didn't feel anything. It felt weird. Why is she speaking in that tone? Why?
Yeah. On the topic, can I address Esmeralda quickly? Because my poor girl, like, what have they done to her?
They hurt so dirty.
I know, they did. And like, okay, you mentioned earlier, I think it was Gina, you mentioned it was inconsistent a lot of the time. And like, on the topic of like laziness and inconsistency, she doesn't even have the same eye color. I don't care how long it's been, 6 years, 12 years, your eyes stay the same color. Your clothes don't. So why? You know, that was like the first thing. But also she's like reduced to like Quasimodo's life coach here. Like that's it. You don't even get to see her be a mom. Like the kid just kind of runs around doing whatever. She's not a mom. She's not a wife. She's not an anything. She's not an activist. She's not a friend. She's just like here on the side because she was in the first movie.
Yeah.
It's terrible. They did her so dirty. She's got no role here. And like, I'm sorry. Why is her kid not at least mixed race?
Right?
Why
you do what? Like, if you're a gypsy,
why are you white? I know, this is not how genetics work.
And it's like, I'm sorry, but why is Paris so white? In the original, there were lots of like gypsies everywhere, and like that was actually a thing. Like race was a thing, and now that they're supposedly more integrated, why is everybody watching the circus white? Like, I'm sorry,
right?
It's inconsistent with what happened at the end of the first movie. Like, come on.
No, that's what it feels like. Like everything in this movie, it's in this movie because he was in the first movie.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Exactly. Like, she has no reason to be here. All she does, there's like one notable scene I can think of where like she gives Quasimodo advice over the crystal ball. And like other than that, it's one or two scenes here and there. Like, that's it. There's nothing. Like, and she's reduced to this like side character who doesn't even have anything to do with the awesome character that she was in the first movie. You know, I would love to see, like, if we had to see something of these characters again, it would be cool to see their relationship, you know, her and Quasi as friends. But it's so superficial here, you know? It's like, it doesn't need to be here. Like, she needs to be here. It's sad. It's sad. I hate seeing such a good character like that.
I think it's really tragic, like what they do with Esmeralda, because as you say, like in the first one, she is her own character and she has a purpose to be there. And I hate that she was just there because she's the first mom and she's Phoebe's wife and she's Quasi's friend, but she doesn't really do anything. She doesn't have anything going on for her. And I think she suffers. This whole movie suffers from like sequelitis. Like the first one had a purpose and it had themes and it had a reason why every character existed. And this one doesn't. This one is just like, well, what else can we do with these characters to make money? So they come up with a random story that has no weight to it. And it's just like, well, put the characters that the kids already know and like there, and they will buy it and whatever. But they don't actually take the time to come up with, you know, new conflicts, you know, this new life that Esmeralda has as an integrated person in society. Let's say, like, what else does it bring to her? Like, is she accepted in society? Is she adjusting well to the new life? Is she adjusting to being a mom? Like, how is her life any different, and how is she coping with that? And she doesn't get that, and it's just like she's there and she has like 3 lines and she does like 2 things, and it's like, why even bother? Like, but that's exactly the whole movie. Like, why bother?
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was saying. Sorry. But that's what I was saying at the beginning, was just like, why is it here? Like, I can actually make arguments for almost any of the other sequels. Like, even, I don't know, I was thinking like Bambi 2 is a good example, because in the original, you do not see his relationship with his father. No, there is a reason for it to exist, but there's no reason to come back to these characters. Like, their arcs were completed. Like, in fact, seeing them 6 years later, it's like a waste. These resources could have gone to characters who actually like had something to do.
Yeah.
You know? But also, like, on your topic of like the script, it was like you say, there's no stakes. It's the most like basic, generic, cookie cutter, like, ooh, let's find him a love interest.
Like, Yeah, give Quasimodo a girlfriend. Yeah, well,
in the first one, the stakes were so high. Like, all of Paris was at stake. Religion was at stake, acceptance, like these huge themes that could stretch like beyond the movie. And now it's so, basic and so condensed just to one person instead of this like grandiose landscape. It just, again, it's like they didn't see the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't think the people creating these movies had seen the original because none of the characters feel like themselves, and none of them feel like natural progressions of the story. And I think if you're going to make a sequel of a Disney movie, please don't let it be Hunchback. Why? It's like making a sequel to Pocahontas. Oh wait,
that happened.
But again, reasonably, even Pocahontas, like, what happened? Did they how did they get along with the settlers? Like, I don't know why she had to go to London, but like there was more story there. There could have been more. There's nothing here. Quasimodo got accepted. That's the end of his arc. Esmeralda got accepted. That was the end of her arc. Frollo's dead. There was nothing else. Like, you honestly think, like, looking at the first movie, who looked at it and said, okay, we need to see these characters again. There's more here. Like, who?
Yeah.
I will write them a strongly worded letter.
I know people that like this one because Quasimodo is happy with someone else, and like that's kind of problematic. I mean, the guy, like, if he wants to fall in love and he falls in love, great, but he doesn't need to be happy.
Exactly. Thank you. And again, that was part of the original, and it's like they just didn't even care.
Like you said, it's like a retcon.
Yes, exactly. And it's just it's unfortunate because you're right. It's like sending this really bizarre, weird message that you need a significant other to be happy.
Yeah.
And
sorry.
don't. And again, even like the way they chose to do it with like the hot girl falling for the like less than attractive guy, it's just Beauty and the Beast. And it's like, why? Wouldn't it be interesting, right? Wouldn't it be interesting if, like, Madeline had something wrong with her other than, like, oh, I'm clumsy? Like, what?
Oh my god, she's this most generic kind of...
She's so generic. Like, what if she had something, like, weird about her? What if she was blind? How cool would that be?
Like in the Fantastic Four?
Maybe.
Well, she has insecurities and a horrible low self-esteem because of living in an abusive household.
Yeah.
She does.
Oh, sorry, Tammy, you haven't talked at all.
It's hard to like squeeze in because like I can't get on to the hate because I actually love it.
No, but sorry.
Please go on. Please go on.
Yeah.
No, I want to hear your take, like on the Esmeralda and the.
Okay, so I agree with most of what you were saying. I do not like what they did with Esmeralda. You guys are right. She is basically kind of useless in the story, and she is not herself, and she's just basically Quasi's life coach. But what I liked most about the film was the romance and the lighthearted feeling of it. Like, I love lighthearted slice of life films. Like, one of my favorite Studio Ghibli movies is Whisper of the Heart from Open Puppy Hill, which is basically about two kids falling in love and just the story within that. Like, I never got the sense that they were saying that Quasi needed a significant other to be happy. It was just him falling in love with this girl. And I don't know, like, I've just been in those kind of feels lately, and I guess maybe I'm a bit biased with my presentation of it because I've recently fallen back in love with the idea of falling in love, and it's a really nice feeling, and I really enjoyed seeing that represented on the screen. I really liked how it was all about the romance, and it was just a sweet film for me.
I'm not saying at all that falling in love is bad or it weakens your character. I'm just saying, like, I feel like it weakens in this case because we already had seen such a better, I don't know, kind of fall in love with yourself in the first one. I don't know if I'm clear with that, but I see it. I remember that I didn't mind it as a kid because of that. Because then in this one, Quasimodo does get a girlfriend.
Like, I don't find it offensive in the way I found Lady and the Tramp 2 offensive. I found
oh my god,
because it was like cooking. It was just copy and paste Little Mermaid 2 just with dogs.
Aww.
And I see what you're saying, how this is basically Beauty and the Beast, but I didn't even make that comparison. I don't know. I did not see the similarities for me. It just felt like a different sort of Disney sequel to me. Like, and it was because it was just about the romance. It was just like basically watching him fall in love and go on this date and just exploring those feelings he had. And I really found that refreshing.
I see where you're coming from. I do, but like, I guess my biggest beef with that whole thing. And you know what, Tammy? Like, there are moments in this movie that I can get behind. And most of them are when it's Quasi and Madeline together, because they are sweet.
Yeah.
It's just that I don't understand why it had to be this universe, this world, this story that needed this.
I understand what you mean. Like, everything was completely closed perfectly. They had closure. There was no transition, for a continuation. And I get what you're saying.
In this movie's defense a little bit, I think it's sweet how the romance progresses, in the sense that, like, she doesn't really ever, like, I'm trying to word this because on some way I'm like disagreeing with myself as I'm saying it. But like, I think the choice to have Madeline be conventionally attractive and yet be so have so many self-esteem issues and be so afraid was actually a decent one, because at this point Quasimodo, even though he's conventionally unattractive, he has no more self-esteem issues, right? So that whole fire scene where he's like giving her the trinket and he's like, this is how I see you now, and she gets really overwhelmed and happy, and that's kind of when she starts feeling something real for him. That's sweet, because like, that is a little bit of like, appearances don't actually matter, and this is coming from someone
that's littered all throughout the film, which is kind of, like, not subtle.
It's not subtle, hey? The bell, the look nice.
Yeah, that's beautiful on the inside. But actually, what I liked with those messages, with one of those messages, was when he took her up on the tower, and she was like, "I can't see anything," and it's like, you don't have to see the beauty of Paris. I thought that was kind of sweet. I like that one.
Well, I think it is nice. It's a good message about believing in yourself and falling in love despite that. But again, there are other movies that do it better, so I can't necessarily.
No, I totally get what you mean.
Yeah.
I just feel like it was too in your face, and I didn't like that, because just like they were feeding you with a spoon, and Disney never does that except in this direct-to-video sequels. So yeah, I was going to say that I remember that I liked the romance before. I was surprised when I watched it for the podcast. I didn't believe it, I don't believe it anymore.
So you liked it as a kid?
I think I liked it as a kid, but now, like, I know about romance stories and more about
you mean
fiction
you don't believe this romance story?
I don't believe the story.
Got it.
Oh yeah, like, I mean, I kind of get a little bit of that too. Like, I'm not sure how actually compatible they really were. Like, they seem to.
Because Quasimodo just gets infatuated with her so quickly, and
that is a
like
good
at the
point.
beginning, it's like, I love you so much.
That is something I did not like, because if that happened in real life, like, you would think that, that's majorly creepy.
Yeah.
Like, fell in love with someone, right? But then I just, chalked it up to, Disney love magic.
But again,
because it does happen. It does happen in Disney films where they fall in love with someone.
But guess what? Like, that's, again, this is why it bugs me that it's this story, because in the original, he was the same with Esmeralda, and he fell in love with her too fast, and it was actually a detriment because he ended up getting hurt.
Yeah, but that was the story. He gets the girl.
Sorry?
No, just go on.
No, I was talking over you. It's okay. I was done. I was just saying it undermines the original, Yeah.
No, yeah, I was just going. That is basically what I meant. But in that one, that was part of the story, and he didn't end up with her, and that was kind of the point. And in this one, he does. I don't know.
Yeah, like, it's unfortunate.
I'm not saying the intentions were bad. I'm just saying I don't like that kind of writing.
Yeah, it's just a little too simple. It all happens a little too easily.
Like, it's like a movie for kindergartens or something.
Yeah,
and I think it is. It actually is. So me getting frustrated about it shouldn't be a big thing. But it's a sequel to one masterpiece of a movie, so I am mad about it.
Yeah, I think that's part of it too. Just saying, like, I feel like the amount of hate we have towards a Disney movie is like parallel to how much we liked the original.
Maybe that has something to do with mine too, because I do appreciate it, but I don't love it.
Yeah,
I think that has something to do with my reaction towards the sequel. Because I love Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah,
I hate Lady and the Tramp too.
Okay.
I don't love Lady and the Trap at all, and I like Lady and the Trap too. So yeah, I guess you have a point there.
It's like yeah, so that's an interesting kind of thing to consider here, and I think again with a movie like Hunchback, like it was such a risky movie, it was such a brilliant movie, it didn't hold your hand, and just to see the absolute opposite of that, this one has no risks, no stakes, it holds your hand the whole way through, they beat that message into you, like it's beautiful on the inside, it's like just stop, you don't need it, like you went from not questioning our intelligence to like thinking we're babies, like it's not necessary, you know. Like you say, it is a movie for kids, but I kind of think we should be allowed to be mad if a movie for kids is bad, because that is that's what we're growing up with, you know.
Yeah.
Movies.
That's what I always say.
You go, Julia.
Sorry.
I was just kidding. I'm just saying you go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know, you learn a lot from these movies, and if they just hold your hand and they turn and they're like all they serve is like, okay, here babysit my kids for an hour. That's not good. We should be questioning that, right? Because you want your kid to come away from the experience a little bit different. You want them to be thinking about things. And this one, they're not going to be thinking about anything other than like, oh, that one song I'm singing now, like again, even me, I wasn't as a kid.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think I always get mad when people like think of children media as less than because it's like it definitely isn't. Like I just had a discussion, as I always do, with someone who was like, "Oh, have you seen the new Grinch movie?" And I was like, "No, because I have a personal vendetta against Illumination Studios." And they were like, "Why?" Because they make the most stupid animated movies for children, and people think that that's what children media is, and that's it. And he just went on to say, "Oh, but it's okay because children and this and that." And I was like, "No, children deserve better than that." And children deserve movies like Hunchback, maybe not something less traumatizing, maybe I don't know, but movies that don't hold their hands and be like, "Oh yes, this is bad and this is good," you know. And that's what Hunchback 2 does. And I've been wanting to like jump in the conversation, but I'm just having a blast listening to you three go on. But because I do agree. I mean, I feel torn on this because I do enjoy Madeline's character. I think there's something about her that I do enjoy, and I don't think she's all bad. But on the other hand, I'm like, yes, but if you're gonna do a sequel, because I was thinking that for Cinderella 2, we had no problem with it being lower stakes, and I was trying to come up with why. But it was because Cinderella, actually, the first one, doesn't have that big of a stake, you know? It's just Cinderella, and it's just Cinderella's life at stake. I mean, not her life, but, you know, her dreams and whatever.
You're right.
And that's why Cinderella 2 being so low stakes doesn't feel like a betrayal to the original, because it just feels more natural with what she goes through. And that's why I think it bothers me and it bothers Julia and Andy, that this movie feels like kind of toned down. It feels like dumbed down. It feels like there's nothing going on here, because we already saw the first one. In the first one, literally Paris was burning, and this one, like, the biggest conflict is that they're stealing a bell, and like, what are the stakes here? And it's complicated.
Like, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, like, if they had to tell a story set in this universe, you're right, it could have been so different. Victor Hugo wrote other books. You could have pulled all kinds of inspiration. Like the literature was out there. I don't understand why it had to be this, you know?
You know what? It's so, now that you say it, like this movie, this direct to home video movie, it's kind of related to Victor Hugo. It's it's a complete opposite of that, and it's so weird. It makes me want to laugh.
No, it's true. He would hate this because this is nothing like what he wrote.
I don't think he would have liked the original.
Yeah, well, okay, I know that they Disneyfied the original, you're right, but they tried to keep it somewhat true to at least his themes, right? And Victor Hugo's whole thing was that he was dark and kind of jaded and like over it all, and he wrote his books about kind of like humanity's shortcomings. And like, and Disney took a risk on that. Again, this is what kind of bugs me so much. When I say it's a retcon, I mean more so than just for the characters. Like, it's a retcon for the studio because it took this risk that didn't necessarily pay off, but it wasn't terrible, and decided to explore a very mature book and very mature theme. And when that kind of didn't work, they just went back to their like silly, like low stakes, place. And even the lowest of the low stakes Disney movies aren't this bad. Like Disney, like did themselves wrong here. I think like even like what's the most boring Disney movie you can think of? Like I bet it's not this
Lady and the Tramp 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not bad.
That doesn't count. That's a sequel. I'm thinking like they're movies, right? Like even like if people have all kinds of gripes with the older Disney movies, like, but they had so much heart behind them, and this has nothing. It's just hollow. Like it's just corporate. It's just like it's so frustrating because they're retconning themselves and taking a step backwards. It's not. They're just turning to, they're becoming everything people say they are. It's like, they just like fluff it up and they just make it like romance and they fall in love in 3 days, and like Disney isn't necessarily that, but when you put out movies like that, this is where the argument comes from. Like,
like I've seen,
you make absolutely sense.
I've seen Barbie movies and I've seen Care Bear movies that have more heart and more story than this, like way higher.
Oh gosh, you guys really hate it. That's really funny. Dang.
I still don't understand why you don't. I don't think.
I don't hate it. I had fun with it. Like I loved watching the romance. Like I loved watching them go on their little dates. I really liked Madeline and her character. I liked how she was super insecure with herself and how she had no self-esteem and she like overcame it by the end. Like I love the line she had at the end at the tightrope where she goes, "I'm just standing here looking pretty," as she beats Sarut.
That's my favorite moment. That's my favorite moment of the movie.
Like I really had a fun time with this movie. Like I understand what you guys are all saying. I do agree with all your points, but it doesn't offend me in the same way. I don't know how to explain it though.
Can I just say? Can I just say something? Like when I was saying at the beginning, like I'm sorry to rain on the parade of that one line being good, but it just bothers me so much that so they're planning this escape, like these villains are planning this escape, and they have Zephyr on the ship or in the boat or wherever, and then Vandaline is like, like this is my hero moment, and she grabs Zephyr, but after that the guards just come and capture the bad guys. Like they were going to do that seconds after you rescued that kid. It's just why? It's so bad.
I think they were just in his defense. I think they were afraid he was just gonna like kill him, like or something, like right away.
That's
like,
what I was gonna say, because he has Zephyr like by the he was grabbing him like he was about to throw him like in the river and let him drown. Like that's what I think. That's why the guards didn't chase after him, and that's why Phoebus had to let him go, because he had Zephyr and they were scared that he was going to hurt him. And that's what Madeline says to Quasimodo. He's like, he is going to hurt him if we don't do something. And that, like, I will be devil's advocate here and be like, no, that actually kind of makes sense to me, because the thing is that he had Zephyr, so that's why they didn't do anything before. It's not like they were stupid and they were just laying around. It's just something that they didn't know how to get Zephyr back, and it was up to Madeleine to do the tightrope and grab him. And actually, I think it's more on what's the name of the villain? Sharouche. It's more his fault, because he still had Zephyr like freaking Rafiki, Raven.
Yeah, I know. I love that.
Right? I was like, put him down. Like that's why it was so easy for Madeleine to grab him, because he was just dangling him. So like.
Yeah. And see, even stupid moments like that I find funny. That I enjoy it. Like he was like, I love how you say like he was dangling him like Rafiki, because he really was. It was so funny. It was hilarious. See, I enjoy that, even though it sucks. I don't know how to.
Yeah. So here's my take. Okay, yeah, you go ahead.
I'm just going to say that I find it so funny that Tammy didn't like Lion King too, but she likes the.
I know.
Yeah, like I was thinking like this is pretty much Lion King 2 but worse. Like
What? What? What did you,
This-
what did you say?
Like a
I feel
romance
so
song.
attacked right now.
No, I'm saying Lion King 2. No, like this movie is worse than Lion King 2. At least Lion King 2 had a reason to exist insofar as it was based on a Shakespeare like the first one. Like
Yeah.
whereas this, there's nothing. And in fact, like we said, Victor Turner would roll over in his grave, you know? Like or sorry, Victor Hugo. Who am I saying? You know?
Victor Turner.
Victor, I don't know who that is. That's
I only feel
was
like
like,
he
what?
will turn and roll in his.
yes, both. Okay. Whereas at least in Lion King 2, even though it had way lower stakes and has a lot of the same problems, like at the very least, it was also based on a Shakespeare, you know, and like the characters had a little more going on. Oh, I'm sorry, Tammy. I don't want to be attacking you because I think
No, you're not attacking me. It's
Okay,
really
good.
funny.
Tammy's like,
go
no.
on.
I'm just no. When you bring up Lion King 2, it's pretty much the same thing. It's like a romance after this epic thing, and like, I guess that one's different because it's not the same characters, but like it's almost it's very similar, and it's like why. Like why? Why did they do this? I don't know.
I don't want to hear Lion King 2 is like Hunchback 2 again in my life.
No.
I'm sorry.
I don't think Lion King 2. I think Lion King 2 has a little more stake than this.
It does have
I
more
think that's what I didn't like about Lion King 2, because like what I like about this is that it's low stakes and it's just the romance. Like there's really nothing serious here. While Lion King 2 was trying to be all, like kind of serious at the end, and it just didn't work for me. Like while here I enjoy that they embrace the lightheartedness and the non-seriousness of it all.
You know why I don't like that? Because I feel like I was watching a Saturday morning cartoon, and I feel like this was like an episode of some cartoon. I didn't feel like a movie. Like I was watching the last two movies, and they felt like movies. You know, like you put a VHS and you got a movie, but this felt like I was just watching TV, like bad TV.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, maybe because of that, because the characters were just laying around dressed like they always were.
Yeah, and it's like again, sorry, I'm not trying to hate on Lion King 2 at all. I actually think that's one of the stronger sequels. No, I'll say it. I think it's one of the stronger sequels. It's not as good as the original, but no, none of them are, right? But the thing is, think of Lion King 2 next to its predecessor. It feels like it's in the same world, at least a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
And I know part of that's the animation, and the music is much better than it is here. But like even with the stakes, yes, they're lower, but they still feel at least somewhat a tiny bit closer to the original, certainly than this. This is just so like bottom of the barrel. It's just because I like the original so much, to be honest with you. Like it's that's why, you know. So it sucks because it's a very similar plot line with like okay, like they fall in love and like Madeline's like secretly deceiving Quasimodo, just like kind of deceiving Kiara. It's very similar in that sense. But Kohu and Kiara were written better, and like even like they sound better and they emote better because it's a better script. Like that's the other problem. These talented voice actors are reduced to just like like silly little like clowns because they've got nothing good to say. I'm sorry.
No, it's great.
It's fine. I'm having fun. I'm actually like I want to be like the middle ground here because I don't think I hate it with a passion. Like because I do have some nostalgic feeling towards it because I did watch it a lot as a kid and I appreciate it as a kid. So I don't want to like completely shit on it because I do think it has some redeeming qualities. And like for example, I do have a problem with Quasimodo falling in love because I don't think he has any other arc in this movie other than falling in love, and that's not an arc. That's just something that happens to him. So my take on this is that Quasimodo is not actually the protagonist of this movie. Like the protagonist of this movie is Madeline, because she is the one who goes through an arc. She goes from being like someone's just toy and someone's like errant girl to like knowing her own worth and her own value, and Quasimodo just helps her through that. Like Quasimodo really becomes more like a secondary character to her because he's just there to make her grow, and that's kind of interesting, but also like. But it's not framed like that, you know. The protagonist is supposed to be Quasimodo, but in when you watch the movie, you just realize this is Madeline's story, and
I mean, people have said the same thing about the Beast in Beauty and the Beast, how he's more the protagonist than Belle, as Belle doesn't really go through any major changes, and that it's the Beast. I think I got that from the Nostalgia Critic.
I kind of like both the protagonists there. I do think Belle goes through some maybe smaller arcs, but she has some agency and she learns things during that movie. Meanwhile, here Quasimodo has little to learn, like his whole conflict is like, oh, nobody likes me because I'm ugly or something. And then this girl comes along and turns out that she actually likes him even though he looks the way that he looks. And that's it. And that's not an arc. That's just something that happens to him.
Yeah. Well, you're right. I think, if I may, I think your take on that Madeline's the protagonist is really interesting and it makes a lot of sense. But I think that you're right. It's framed so poorly that actually kind of lowers the stakes more, because if Quasi's the protagonist, I feel like his arc in the first movie was that nobody likes him, but the very first thing in the wiki article, because I have it open here, the very first like sentence is Quasimodo is now an accepted part of Parisian society. Like, so he is accepted. People like he's kind of like this town, you know, like mascot. Yeah, like they know that he's there, they like him, rate him. So there's even less stakes.
I do think that Quasimodo has not really completely accepted himself. I do think that he still shows that he has some personal issues. I think it's more about himself. Like, he is accepted by people, but he still kind of craves that other kind of relationship. He sees Phoebus and all that, and of course he wants that, and he thinks that the reason that he's not getting it is because the way that he looks. And this, like, even in the beginning of the movie when he's looking at his reflection in the Fidel Bell, and he looks at himself in this like weird version where he's not as deformed, and I say as because he still looks kind of weird because
he does
sequel animation, but he looks himself as a more like normal guy, and I think that that's kind of problematic because it sets him up for an arc about him accepting himself for who he is, and that's not what he gets. He just gets a girl to fall in love with him, and I think that the movie would have been much stronger if Madeline wasn't even there and he just learned to.
But what do you do for that? I mean, I'm not really not that interested.
If I could, like, kind of chime in here, because I'm thinking about all your points, Gina, and I thought of something, right? What if we were to rewrite this movie with the same characters and same basic plot? Wouldn't it be so much more interesting and different? And I think this is how this story works into the Hunchback actual world. If we're thinking like this, what if the movie starts out with Madeline Circus coming to town, and she's the first character we see.
Oh,
okay. And it starts out, her perspective, she goes into town, meets Quasimodo, like, accidentally, like, during the whole Festival of Love thing, is kind of, like, weirded out, but then gets her thing. What if it was all through her perspective the whole time? That, I think, makes sense why she's interacting with these characters and why these characters are secondary, because then they are. And if Quasi's not the main character and it's her story the entire time, I think that's the way to save this movie while keeping it at least somewhat what it is, you know? Like, think about it, because then she's the only good thing about this movie, right? Like, most of you guys agree, and even I was thinking similar, like, because I didn't want to come in here and just be a negative, you know, force.
It was fun.
I didn't know I was going to be so negative. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Like, I was honestly trying to find things I like about it, and she is the best thing. I think she deserves a better movie. And if that was her movie, if she comes in and we spend most of the time with her, and when he's out of the picture, we're seeing her and her abusive relationship with Sarouche, and we're seeing, like, that she wants a better life for herself, but she's afraid, and he gives her that. How much better would that be? And that makes sense as to why we're here. It's a traveling circus. and it's not a continuation of Quasi's story at all. It's a
That's
new
a good point. That's a good
Right?
That
point.
is quasi helping other people.
Yeah, and that would strengthen his arc too, because he's able to like give his lessons that he learned in the first one to this new person, and along the way they can fall in love. I don't think this should have been a romance first. You know, it should have been what it was, a character study of someone coming to terms with themselves, and then the romance can be secondary. And if Quasi's a secondary character, I think that gives it a reason to exist. That justifies it. Because it's not about these people anymore. It's about the setting and a circus coming to Paris and this girl and she can learn, and it's less about loving, like it's less about beauties on the inside and like don't judge appearances, because we've had that already. Beauty and the Beast, the original, so many others, right? It's not about that. It's about coming like loving yourself, right? That would be so much better, you guys.
Yes.
What do you think? I think
Totally agree.
I love everything you said.
I love that because
But
we
the
can just
podcast
sit
is
here.
over.
Mic drop.
We can just sit here and like write a better movie than what we just watched, and it feels so easy. Like, why didn't they think? I mean, I get it. I get why they didn't think of this, especially. But like, come on, it just would have been so much better.
Yeah, and for God's sake, give Esmeralda a new dress and like a different hairstyle or something.
All right.
And like, yeah. Oh
Can
man.
I say something? Like, one of the lines in the films like perfectly explains embodies like how low the stakes were in the film when what was it? The Sarouche stole the bell and Kloppin goes, and now the festival is ruined. So see, even that is stupid, but I loved it. Like I am entertained by it. Like I find it hilarious.
I wanted to hate watch it. I
that.
didn't expect to. They just hate it.
Yeah. I want to say something about him as a villain, right? Like he's a poor villain because I think he's too similar to so many other villains, and like I studied like feminist and queer theory a lot, right? Because I am a gay person, so I find that stuff really interesting. And Disney tends to like gayify their villains a lot, and this guy is like kind of very very obviously coded to be pretty clearly, you know, he's gay, you know. And like I think that sometimes it really works. Like with Ursula based on a drag queen, I think that is actually a really interesting representation of someone. And I think that they did it in an appropriate way. Even Scar, right? But then like when you get to your Radcliffes or this guy, like it's just like, oh, the gay man's obsessed with like the pretty things and he's like he's conniving and he just wants money and he just wants power and he hates women and like it's so it's poorly handled, I'll say. Like it's not very tasteful, this particular villain, whereas some of their other queer coded villains are very tasteful and very interesting, and there's a reason behind it, and it's like, you know, it's actually handled respectfully. Like this is not one of those times.
Yeah, totally agree.
So, you know, that's another notch in the dislike bar. Like
I'll give them this, that at least the villain has, you know, it's compatible with the themes of the movie. I think it's kind of interesting that he has this whole ritual of putting on his hair and you know, fitting inside, you know, this how what's it called, the corset?
Yeah.
The corset to make himself look thinner, and the hair and the makeup, and you know that this guy that just appreciates beauty on the outside, you know, that kind of fits with the theme of the movie, and I put that in quotes. But still, he's not strong a villain because that's all that he has going on for him, and it's something that we have seen before, and it's not that well handled, and that's
and it's a little bit too in your face.
Yeah, exactly.
Like not subtle again.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is, like, when they are a little more subtle, it's better, I think. Like, it just is. Like, I think Ursula is a gay icon, okay? Like, I love her. For so many reasons. And I could talk your ear off about her, too. Even Scar, right? Like, I think that coding is kind of inconsequential to their actual villainness, whereas, like, for Radcliffe or this guy, it's so obviously, like, hate him because he's effeminate, you know? So... again, it's not Disney can do better, and they have done better. Which again, it makes me sad because I feel like with this movie, they're not just failing their audience, they're failing themselves and the standards that they should be holding themselves to. You know, and I feel like they were like, oh, it's just a direct-to-DVD sequel, no one's gonna watch it. But that's your brand, Disney.
Yeah, exactly. If you're releasing it under the Disney name, like at least have some quality control and like do something about it.
Exactly. Like, come on, that's people are gonna talk about it. You know, this is your name. You can't put something out there that you're not.
So I have a question. So we pretty much agreed that we liked Cinderella 2. What makes that better than this?
Because the characters felt like an actor progression. This doesn't feel like it was in the same universe at all.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what it boils down.
That's what it boils down to. That it's not a true continuation of the original story.
I think as well.
More about the characters. I mean, you can write a whole different story of Quasimodo, but if you still have Quasimodo as the heart of it, and you have still him being him, then the story maybe work. But you know, if your characters don't work and they don't feel like themselves, then your story is not gonna land because you're working on a sequel, and the sequel is supposed to be, you know, what else are these characters doing? But we don't really care about what they are doing. We care about them. You know, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's why I think Cinderella 2 works better because Cinderella feels like Cinderella, and it feels like, oh yeah, this is something that would happen to Cinderella now that she's a princess.
Yeah.
You know?
And there was a reason to show these different stories and to tell that story.
Yeah, to tell the story of what happened after Cinderella became a princess. You know, this is a completely different, how do you say, life that whatever she had before. So how is she adapting to it? That's the story. There's a story there.
Also, I think with Cinderella 2 versus this one and versus a lot of other ones, I think both the Cinderella sequels, I wasn't here for Cinderella 2 obviously, but my 2 cents it is 3 short films and it knows that, and that's all it tries to be. So even right there, it's self-aware, whereas this one really doesn't feel self-aware. And also
so stoned up.
Yeah, but like it knows it's 3 short films, and then the next one it knows it's a total retcon, and it's kind of bizarre, and I think that's awesome. But I'll say about the Anastasia arc in Cinderella 2, isn't that, for goodness sake, exactly the same as this movie we're watching here about learning to love someone who they are? And wasn't that then 100 times better because it was short, because it was not trying to because it was a character that was a secondary character in her movie, and it was a bit of a redemption story for her as well as a love story. You know, like, there was no stakes for Quasi because he was already accepted. Like, if he was still unaccepted, like Anastasia, and it was a bit of a redemption arc, maybe it could work, but it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like,
I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, like, that was better because it was short. It felt like a better connection, to be totally honest. And, like, there was more to it than just, Anastasia has a boyfriend now. It was
because we needed Anastasia to be redeemed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the point, you know? And Lucy as the life coach worked better as Esme as the life coach. You know, Cindy being like, okay, I guess I'll help you, evil stepsister, was actually a character strength for her because, you know, she's helping someone who was abusive to her because she has a better life now. And, you know, like, there's even reasons. There's reasons.
It's so much stronger. It's so much like it's a tighter script. Like because it is low stakes, but it's supposed to be low stakes, and it knows it.
And the length. Julia mentioned that the fact that it's shorter, which also helps it because it doesn't need to have any like a full feature film length.
Yeah, definitely.
Hunchback 2 is only 66 minutes. That's like,
it is a good point. It's actually super
too long.
It does. Like, I'm sorry, it does feel too long. If it could have been a short film, and maybe it could have been better. Or again, if it was Madeline's perspective, that's the saddest part. Hey, there are ways to save it.
Yeah.
Like, why?
You know what? I think I was thinking about this when I was watching the movie, and this goes back to the gargoyle thing. Like the thing with Madeline being able to hear and react to the gargoyles would have worked so much better if we hadn't seen the gargoyles already interact with real life things, because then it would mean like she and Quasi have this kind of thing in common, and that she can see, you know, these fragments of his mind. Like that would have been so interesting and weird, but that would have worked. I think it would have worked better, because the whole thing with Madeline is that she can hear the gargoyles, and the gargoyles are like, "What the fuck? Can she hear us?" But it doesn't really land, because because we. You know, the previous already established that they are real things, but then in this movie they're supposed to not be, and that's why it's weird for Madeline to hear them.
Exactly.
But you know, that's why it doesn't land.
Like, again, with the inconsistencies, did they watch the first movie? You're right, that's so interesting, and it could have been like a weird, we could have been talking about like the psychological ramifications of her sharing his delusions, and what does it mean? And it could have been a weird Destiny story. It could have been great. It could have been different.
We were on the verge of greatness.
We were this close. You know? God. Why? Okay. Why is freaking Zephyr white? We're still not over that, okay? Why is it so annoying?
Zephyr is the
Joel
worst.
Osment.
Yes,
I know.
just really Joel
out.
Osment himself plays Zephyr, and it's oh my god, Zephyr. Can we talk about Zephyr? Because man, I didn't remember this kid being so annoying and so useless. Like
Annoying.
Like the first things he says is like just like whoa, and that's all he says. And then this stupid joke that they make where Esmeralda goes, slow down, Zephyr, and he goes, okay, Mom. It's just
kind of cute.
stupidest thing. Like, shut up, kid.
I find Zephyr annoying. Oh my gosh. I thought that was kind of cute, that joke.
I don't know.
I
Like,
didn't mind that joke.
I just thought it was stupid, and then when he just randomly started singing, I was like, what? Did you have a song? Why did you have a song? And
Like, Iago has a song, now Zephyr has a song.
Iago had 2 songs.
Why do people make him sing?
Haley Joel Osment singing in the Disney movie.
But this is the other thing. You know, the song that he sings is supposed to be about his relationship with Quasi and how close they are. And I'm like, why is Quasi suddenly like his father figure? Like, he has a father. Why isn't he close to his father? Why is Quasimodo raising Zephyr? Where are Esmeralda and Phoebus? Like,
Exactly. Like, they didn't even allow Esmeralda to be a good mom. Like, she couldn't even have that. Come on.
yeah.
Like, how?
It just was weird.
Yeah. Also, can we talk about the ramifications and the weirdness of like a full-grown adult hanging out with a kid and being like a best friend? Like, even that's strange. Like,
that is a good point.
I don't know. Maybe I mean it can work. I mean, look at Ralph and Vanellope, and I know they're video game characters, but they work because they have this very innocent kind of bond. And like, I don't mind that. I just find it weird that if Zephyr has parents, like why, like Esmeralda and Phoebus just kind of disappear from that scene, and Quasimodo is have to take care of Zephyr, but why does that happen? Like, he has parents, and if it would have, like, if Quasimodo was his dad, maybe, let's put it that way, maybe Zephyr is not Esmeralda and Phoebus' son, maybe it's Quasimodo and someone else's son. Maybe the scene would be cute because it would be about a father-son bond, but because he's not his father, it's just like, why is he so close to this kid?
Like, I'm not totally convinced that that's Esmeralda's son, alright? Phoebus reproduced asexually or something. He looks exactly like Phoebus and nothing like Esmeralda, alright? Like, it doesn't even have black hair. Like, come on.
Yeah, they did her dirty. Like, not even her son looks like her.
I know. Like, why? Why are they so, like...
That's also a weird thing from the original, like, because Quasimodo's parents are both gypsies, but he's white, and, like, okay, maybe if he had been like darker skinned, it would have been more problematic because he's basically Frodo's slave. So if he had
that might have been
darker skin, maybe that was the reason.
I always explained that away that like
he's
that was his dad, or
I was like he never sees the sun, but like no. Like that doesn't explain as to why he's like light skinned. Like
That's true.
No, both his.
It's albino. And he doesn't.
What?
Albino.
I think we're trying to get way too deep into the to the biology of Hunchback.
Yeah.
We need a Punnett square, okay? We need.
Yeah.
No, you're right. That is weird. But I guess that you know what? Maybe we can give Zephyr a pass then, because these movies have always been unclear of like what genetic spawn should look like.
Hey, I have two cousins that are half Vietnamese, half white, and they look fully white. So it happens.
It can happen. You're right. That's okay. Okay, that's fair.
Okay, so Zephyr is white, and we're okay with it, but he's still annoying.
Can I mention something else about stakes? I know I'm like backtracking a bit, but I was like looking over the wiki article. Again, the very first film, listen to what it lists as the themes of the first film, right? It lists, where was it? Mature themes such as infanticide, lust, damnation, genocide, and sin. And what's the biggest thing at stake? It's not Paris is burning and people are dying. It's robbery. Like, it's not even the crime, even the bad guy. It's so low stakes, you guys. Like, I feel worse for the person whose purse he slashes than for the damn bell. Because who's actually, like, I guess, like, what? They can't ring another freaking bell? Like, can we talk about the physics of that bell for a minute?
I was going to say that bell makes no sense.
Yeah.
That is such an epic.
It's gonna ring and you're gonna hear crash of shattered stones. Okay.
Oh my god. As a kid, I thought it was cool. I think it looked really cool because it's kind of ugly outside and it's very pretty on the inside. And it's very obvious, but I found that like really cool. But now I'm watching it and I'm like, yeah, that was just so forced. And so.
What that is a point to bring up is like the kids aren't going to be sitting down and looking at the complicated science, physics, genetics behind this. So we do have to consider that too. Like, I think that we can like lower our standards a bit to think like, okay, if this is for like the 6-year-olds versus like the 12 and 15-year-olds of the first movie, like, okay, 6-year-olds could watch it and be entertained, but still they could be watching better movies, or they could be, like, it's just.
I mean, I personally don't find it super offensive. Like, I don't think it'll hurt. Like, they could be watching better movies, but I don't think it's something that'll like. I don't like. You said it like it talks down. Like, I don't know, because I feel like I've seen worse where like the jokes are dumb and it really talks down to them and it really thinks like children are idiots. And I don't think this is one of. I don't think this is one of those movies. Like, if you compare it to the original, yeah, I guess you could say that it's dumbing it down, but I don't think I don't think it regards its audience as idiots. Like, I think it's harmless, personally.
You're right. I think you're right, but I feel like, to be honest, that's kind of my problem with it, because the first one wasn't harmless and it pushed the envelope and it took risks.
Yeah.
And the fact that this one is just such a step down. And I feel like if you think of other quote unquote harmless Disney movies, there are better ones. Like, again, it's just like, I feel like we should be holding our children's entertainment to something higher. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think this movie is like most unfortunate like aspect about it is that it is a sequel to the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and like that on itself, like if this was a standalone movie, maybe I wouldn't be so hard on it. Maybe I would be like, okay, this movie is just harmless. It's just kind of boring, but it's just there, and it won't pay anyone. It won't harm anyone. But because it is a sequel to the Hunchback of Notre Dame, which was so bold and so magnificent, and it's really a masterpiece of animation, it really suffers a lot from that. And yeah, I think I do see Tammy's point, and I don't want to shit on that, but I do think it is a harmless movie, but it is a sequel, and if you're gonna be a sequel to a masterpiece, then it's just gonna be expected to be good, at least.
The comparison will still be there.
Yeah, right. And I think you're totally right. I really do agree that if this was not a sequel to a movie that was so groundbreaking and brilliant, I probably wouldn't think about it, let alone hate it. Like, it wouldn't have the same reaction. You're totally right. So. You're right. I don't think it's gonna brainwash kids or hurt kids. That's of course not. it's Technicolor babysitting, that's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that it had, like, again, why this story? Why does Disney want to do this to this story, this groundbreaking story that was for the older audience and was problematic and questioning, and it was awesome and it made kids think? Why this?
Okay, so
So we kind of went off the rails. We didn't really follow our structure, which is kind of fun.
No, I think I just wanted to add that despite all of it, I do like Madeline. Like, she has her flaws as her character, and I do think that she could have been handled better, and she wasn't really necessary for Quasimodo's arc. But I do appreciate what she does, and I agree with Tammy that I do enjoy how she has a lot of insecurities, and they're there because she was raised in a very toxic, abusive environment, and that's tough. And it's tough to handle, and I think it's like very subtle, and that's why it works, because you don't have to have a flashback of Madeline in the streets when she was 6 years old and being abused by Charouche, but you still get her and you understand why she feels the way that she does. And I do relate to her because, like, this is the most basic thing I'm ever gonna say, but she's so clumsy, and she always says something like kind of dorky, and she goes, "Oh, that's stupid." And I love that how in the end she goes, "Oh, maybe that's stupid. No, wait, no, it's not. Thank you."
Sweet. That's
And
sweet.
I find that very sweet, and I find that a very compelling character arc. And I do enjoy this bit of visual storytelling, because at the beginning of the movie, she is rehearsing the tightrope, and when Sharush comes in, she falls and she loses her balance, and she's just like, okay, yes, Sharush, whatever. And the second time that it happens, after she has met Quasimodo, she's practicing the tightrope, and Sharush comes in, and she kind of falters a little bit, but she gets back up, and she doesn't fall again, and she's like, no, I'm not taking part in your theft again. And that's a little bit of visual storytelling that it really hammers in how this character is growing, and that's a thing that I like. Like, I just noticed that, and I was like, this is very well handled. Like, this cleverness, this shows that there was actually intelligent people working on it, who saw the opportunity of making this little bit of animation be its own story. Like, just the fact that she doesn't fall again at the side of Sharush, that's it. That's a character arc, and I really have to give that to them. And that's why I think I enjoy Madeline so much, because I do think she's relatable and she grows. And, like, I think the only people who actually have a character arc in this movie is Madeline and a little bit Phoebus. But Phoebus' arc is not as strong and it's not as noticeable.
I think you're right. I think that if Madeline was the main character, and if she was the star, and those like themes that you're talking about with her were really explored, this would be a better movie. I think she deserves a better movie. She's a decent character, and I think Jennifer Love Hewitt acts her well. Like,
I do agree with you there. Like, you really can sense her vulnerability, her shyness, and her insecurity in Jennifer Love Hewitt's voice.
I relate to her too, and I remember relating to her as a kid. And I'm just saying, I like that she's a Disney heroine who gets to have short hair, because I've always had short hair, and, like, we need representation. So, I like that. I do like her design. You're right. She deserves a better movie, and she should have been the protagonist, because, like you said, nobody else gets an arc. Quasi doesn't get an arc. Esme certainly doesn't. Zephyr doesn't. Just her.
Zephyr's just there. He's literally just there to be abducted, and that's it.
To be abducted. He's the damsel.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, man.
And
guys.
for Phoebus, I think it's funny because I just found it funny because for the whole movie, it's just like Esmeralda calls him out because he keeps putting people in boxes, like, oh, gypsies were this and the circus people are that, and Esmeralda just goes like, don't do that. Like, you cannot generalize and think that everyone is like that. And it would have been a great character arc for him, but it's not really well handled. And in the end, he just goes, when they're in the festival, and he just goes, oh yeah, you were right about it all. I love Esmeralda. He just like, it was not your arc. Like, it was just solved so easily. So it is an arc, but it's just not as strong and it's not as well handled. And I'll just give this. I did laugh at this moment where he goes, he's on his horse on Achilles, and he goes, "How many times have I been wrong?"
Yeah.
And the
That
horse
was
just
that
starts
was
counting
funny.
with his hoof. That was clever. And then
That was the
it
part
comes
I
back.
kind of loved.
It comes back again, like, how many times have people been mad at me? And the horse just starts counting. It's like, it was rhetorical. That was funny. That I do give them that one because I did laugh at that.
Just saying, like, that horse, like, totally a precursor, like, in the original, like, totally a precursor to Maximus. And that's in the
Yeah, he's sassy.
Maximus is, like, the recognized perfect character of that horse. Also, I'm pretty sure his name was Achilles.
Yeah,
Achilles sit. Yes. And so
Achilles
that's good.
Achilles heel.
Achilles heel. Yes.
And I think they named him Achilles just so they could make that joke. That's
That
the
joke?
commentary,
That was
the director commentary.
That is so much fun.
Did you guys remember Frollo's horse?
The angry,
Like that
angry one.
monster or
Yeah. Do you know what's his name?
What is his name?
Nathan.
Zayden?
Snowball. Snowball.
Snowball?
Snowball.
God.
Yeah, he's so cute. Because he's the blackest horse I've ever seen. And his name is Snowball. Like, leave it to Frollo to name a horse like that.
Of course.
Love that.
You know what else, guys? I don't think we mentioned this yet, but can I just say the other, terrible sin of this movie, which is not this movie's fault, but it is severely lacking in Frollo, because Frollo's one of the best villains ever. I know he died, I know, okay?
Yeah.
But he really did elevate the first movie a lot because of just how twisted and corrupt he really was, and it was a brilliant, brilliant villain, and he was such a good foil to Quasi, and it suffers because this villain, and we've already talked about his shortcomings, but he could never be Frollo,
Oh,
Yeah, no, yeah.
who could ever be Frollo?
It definitely suffers because you cannot help but make that comparison, and like no one would have ever like hold a candle to Frollo.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Not because he's a good character, because he's a twisted, evil character. I think he's just written so perfectly, and I think that his song about like struggling between like what he believes is just and what he wants to do is insanely powerful. Again, in that twisted way, like, oh my God, look at how he's objectifying her. Look at how he's justifying his literal genocide with faith, and like, ooh,
He made the devil so much stronger than a man.
yeah, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Like, I think he's a great character in the way, insofar as he's a terrible, like, twisted human being. Sorry, little rant there, but point is, this was very lacking in Frollo.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we ready to move on?
I know. What? Move on to what? Like, where are we even at?
To the downgrade upgrade,
I mean,
Yeah, because we've pretty much covered it all.
To sum up, I think what we did like about the movie was Madeline and Achilles, and for me, I did like some of the cinematography, like not the animation, but the way that they kind of set up the scenes. For example, there's this one scene with Madeline and Charouche where she's laid in the floor, and there's a mirror behind her, and you just see Charouche through the reflection in the mirror, and I think that's a really cool way to block that scene. And it has these bits of like really clever photography, let's call it that, of cinematography, but sadly the animation looks so ugly that you cannot appreciate it for what it is. Also, another bit of those things that I did like is that scene where she's laying on the floor and she reaches out to hold the little wooden figure that Cosi gave her, and then it dissolves and it's Quasimodo reaching out to his own little wooden figure, and like that, it's a really nice visual storytelling. And yeah, I think those were like the main things that jumped at me, because I did think those were kind of really well thought of, but that's it. And the animation, it doesn't help to make it look as good as it could have been. And that's it. I think those are the 2 or 3 things that I did like.
Yeah.
And the romance. I think the romance is wholesome. I do like the romance. But yeah, it's just kind of rushed. But that's it.
It's just, yeah. There's the one scene, okay, that speaking of the cinematography, that I'll mention, when Madeline's like, why don't you come out so I can see you? And then he's like, no, and you see like her eyes glance up at the curtain and she pulls the curtain down. They do some really nice stuff with light there. I will give them that. Like the light on him and then like her backing away, and she does look frightened.
Terrified.
Yeah.
And can I say that shocked me as a kid? I was expecting her to like welcome him, and then like the fact that she actually is terrified of him, which makes sense. But like as a kid, that like was like, oh dang.
Yeah. I like that. It shows that. It shows that even she's a good person, but she still has her prejudice and
and it makes sense because like she's not part of the town. She did not see Quasimodo in his like and what he did for them, like, so she doesn't know who he is. So it makes sense that someone from a traveling circus would have that reaction to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And for what we didn't like, it's just everything else.
Everything we didn't mention.
Yeah, the villain, the mission, the handle of the characters, everything else is just wrong.
Yeah, I think the biggest sin too is like just, for Disney fans talking about it, we came up with like better ideas than what we got. Like it shows that if they put a little more effort into it, we could have gotten something better. So
yeah,
that's like the saddest thing. It's just like so clear that there wasn't anything behind this.
Yeah, definitely. It's always sad, because we love these movies. We love the original ones. And most of these movies, they are just, as we always say, they're just cashing in on the movies. And sometimes they work, sometimes they end up being, worthy stories and worthy characters. But sometimes you get Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, where it's just like, why was it even done? Oh, yeah, to make money. And that's it. And that it doesn't feel like anything else. And even though it does have those little moments of brilliance or like a good character or a good scene, they're not enough to hold the movie together. And they're still, you just leave the movie feeling like, what? And it feels bad. It feels wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. What's
So the next thing that we do is just to go around and say our opinions on if this was an upgrade or a downgrade from the original one. So go with Julia first because she has a very strong opinion about it.
Downgrade.
Capital letters all the way through.
In everything, music was a downgrade, animation, writing, even acting, even though it was the same actors, but that's not their fault. They had a terrible script. I don't think it's awful. I get that it's a Disney movie, or Disney sequel. Sorry, Disney movies are brilliant. That's why. But I just again, why a sequel to The Hunchback of Notre Dame that's a love story? Like that's just it's not right to Victor Hugo, to what the original was trying to do, to the stakes, what it was trying to give. It's a downgrade because the original was brilliant. And it was trying to push the envelope. This is not.
Yeah.
Right.
Despite my defense of it, I do think it is a downgrade because it is. The animation is not great. It's not bad. It's not good. It's bad. And the music, I do enjoy the music, but obviously, like, no one's gonna hold a candle to the original. Like, that was just epic beyond epic. And you're right, the characters don't feel like themselves. The writing is subpar, but like for me, I think I had a really big disconnect with the sequel and the original film, which I don't know if that's the right way to watch the film, but like I enjoyed it more, and I think that's why I'm not offended by it because I did not like I guess I didn't treat it as a sequel. I don't know how to explain it. Like I knew it was a sequel, but I did not. I did not connect it with the original film, and I think that's why I do have this less than negative reaction towards it. Yeah, but it is a downgrade for sure.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
Andy?
That's fair.
Do I need to say it? Really? The capital DAND.
What?
BCETA. No, downgrade, total downgrade.
All right, we'll just leave it at that. Okay, for me, just make that 4 because there's no one I think on this earth that would ever say that it's an upgrade because it is hard to upgrade on something that's already near perfection, I guess. Like the only way that kids could have been an upgrade is if they could have gotten rid of the gargoyles and let the story run without them. Maybe that would have been the upgrade. But yeah, this is sadly and tragically a downgrade because I don't know. I said tragically because I think this movie deserves a lot, and if they were going to make a sequel, like it deserved to be a lot better than this. We deserve better than this, and I think the original animators and the original director, the original characters deserve so much better than this. And yeah, I think it's tragic, but it is what we have, and yeah, that's it. So just to round up, we always do these crazy ratings for the movies. I hope you were prepared.
Oh yes, Tammy
Julia?
told me about them, but I got very wrapped up in the discussion. I'll go last, if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, Tammy?
Yeah. Okay. You guys are gonna hate me, but
No,
it's because it's cute. It's because it's cute. So you may fall in love with Hunchback too.
Aww.
I do. I take offense. I'm kidding.
That's cute. Andy?
I won't shout my love for Hunchback 2 anytime sooner.
Oh my gosh, I like that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I think it's so sad. I mean, I'm excusing Madeline from this. I'm sparing Madeline from this, but I curse this movie to eternal damnation and hell fire.
Oh!
Dang.
That's good. Okay.
Julia?
All right. If you tried to ring a bell to show your love for this movie that was beautiful on the inside, unfortunately it would shatter under the physics of I don't know. Good.
Keep going.
Ringing La Fidel as praise for this movie would result in a lot of broken glass and even more disappointment.
Okay with that.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna go with something like this movie is ugly on the outside and on the inside.
Yeah, I was thinking of it, but I thought that was too obvious.
Yeah, maybe.
That would go with the theme of this movie, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yep, definitely. Okay. Oh, that was fun, guys.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thank you guys so
I'm
much
so
for having
happy.
me on. I really do appreciate it.
Girl, I appreciate you so much. You came in to make a stand against Hunchback 2, and hell, you did.
Yeah.
I love it. I just
And you
enjoyed
can see why I
listening.
love my space girlfriend.
I felt like I was listening to your podcast. I was like, yes, Julia, go.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I really appreciate that. I'm glad I didn't steamroll anyone too much.
No,
it's
that's what you're here for. We invite people because we want to hear their takes on it and give a little like twist to our dynamic, and you definitely did that, and we really appreciate you.
Yeah.
And I hope you can come back again.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
You're a
This is so
natural
much
girl.
fun. And I can't wait to hear it.
I can't wait either.
Thank you, Tammy, for introducing us to Julia.
Yeah,
Isn't she amazing? Isn't my
Thank you,
space girlfriend the best?
we should all have like a group together.
We should. Let's do a collab, you guys.
They don't edit anymore.
I do if I have a good enough reason.
Yeah.
You need to finish that part for me, though.
I will.
But if we could ever have a group chat, does Skype work for you guys? Because that's how me and Julia normally
I
communicate.
don't really use Skype unless we are recording.
So WhatsApp would be the best.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
Me too. All right. So I want to say thank you, Tammy, for introducing me to Gina and Andy. They
My
are
OG
wonderful.
YouTube girlfriends.
Yeah.
They're all amazing.
Amazing. I love this. I really love the dynamic in this episode. I think it really got heated and it was
Yeah,
fun.
we didn't even like have to like transition. It just like went naturally.
Yeah, it was very
Yeah.
natural.
Because it was so bad.
And occasionally Tammy being like, oh wait, but this. Oh yeah, okay, you're right, Tammy.
I know. I was like, when can I jump in?
Poor Tammy.
and then you were like, Madeline has nothing wrong with her. I'm like, she does.
I was just waiting for Tammy to barge in like a positive train, like, no bitch, shut up. And here's why you're wrong, and this movie's actually good.
Tammy, the force of positivity in this otherwise negative discussion. Oh, it wasn't negative.
I think it made it a more interesting discussion. You know, I like when discussions have different opinions.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Same.
I
think it's good. I think it's good that you actually
and then it got you thinking of what could have made it better. And I thought your whole rewrite of the opening scene was brilliant. So
that would be great. Like we should do. Let's like for real. We should collab and we should like go back through all your old podcasts and we can think about like the things that would make each movie worse and better and like make a collab like improving the story.
Oh my god.
Yes. I always think that whenever we are finished with the sequels, I'm like, what are we gonna do next? And I would love to have an episode dedicated to like retconning the sequels that did poorly and be like how this could be improved. And it would be very interesting.
Heck yeah. That would be great.
So next time. So whenever you wanna talk about a movie that you actually like or a movie that you despise.
Yeah, I mean, is there a Disney sequel you like?
There are a few Disney sequels I like. My favorite Disney sequel, which I don't know if you guys have done yet, is Cinderella 3.
Oh, yeah.
No, not yet.
But that's and I think it's taken.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's okay, like, because I'll just listen to it and hear that way. But there are others I really do like, so we'll talk.
Yeah, just let us know. We're always looking for new guests, and we always want the ones that have already come in to come back because we enjoy them so much, and we really want to have you back whenever you want to. So just let Sammy know another sequel that you can come up with. I have something to say about this one, and
I'll send her the list. I'll send her the list that we have going, and like, I mean, there is Wreck-It Ralph too.
Oh, but that's just...
I still haven't seen that one yet. Oh. So I could come in, like, watching that one blind. We'll see.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
You guys have anything else to say before we sign off?
No.
This was really fun. You guys are great. I know I said that already, but I really enjoyed myself.
Thank you. We really enjoyed your taste as well.
And I enjoyed watching my two groups of my friends like just get along, just bond over hate. It was fun. It was entertaining.
You know what? We were bonding over love of Disney and therefore disappointment in the lesser products.
I like the way you see that. And Julia, you want to remind people where they can find you online, your YouTube channel?
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, my channel is Nabari Love 19, and I edit non-Disney crossovers, and sometimes way back I used to edit anime, so you can look for that. I would love to see you guys there, and please subscribe to all of these ladies too if you haven't already, which I don't, you better be fans and subscribed already, because they're all really talented. And
I don't think we've ever really shared our channels. Maybe we should.
Yeah, we never really.
They're just there, laying around.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys.
Okay. Thank you so much, Julia.
All right.
Thank you. And okay, so that's it for this episode. And thank you guys so much for listening. Remember that you can find us on Twitter at 2divisionpod, and you can send us an email at 2divisionpodcast@gmail.com. You can send us any comments, questions, suggestions, anything you want to send us. Just do it. And remember that you can listen to us on iTunes, and you can also leave reviews and ratings, and that helps other people find the podcast. So please do. And you can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. So go look for us whenever and whatever you want to. And that's it. And that's it. Goodbye, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.